Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the continuation of our second part of our policy workshop for November 9th. We will go ahead and begin with, we just have, I think, about six more policies to get through today. Probably be a shorter workshop than usual. We'll go ahead and start with 5610 with our chief of schools. Or it's actually, Josh, you'll be, yes, you'll be set. Mr. Crystal? Okay, thank you so much.
Sorry about that. So the revisions it's mostly verbiage that we're looking at in the policy. It includes changing the words to use the current district procedures. So there is no student handbook. It is a student code of conduct. We no longer use the term change of placement in terms of for the behaviors. It's change of environment. And we've changed continuous disruptive behavior, which didn't previously have a definition, to multiple egregious referrals, which actually does in the code of conduct have a definition.
Okay, thank you. Board members, are there any questions?
Jessica wants to know which one we're talking about.
We're talking on 5610. We do have two board members who are virtual. Member Gray?
Good morning, Joshua, and thank you for all the work that you do in this area. I just wanted to ask a question. The communication piece is so critical regarding the code of conduct that the parental, let's say, notification in each school, and Superintendent Ayers, I'm not sure whether I see that in a central location as I walk in schools that, you know, it says it's in the middle. So I think if that be the case, that is very, very important because and I'll get into this in a minute, disruptions, suspension rates, everything is glaring at us, and the principals. So parents have a way of perhaps not seeing the code of conduct, and I think we need to make sure that that is a huge initiative, not unlike when you walk into the front desk, a secretary or whatever, having it there. You know, maybe even hard copies, because I think the Hispanic population and those that don't have the language need to have that booklet and all the other avenues. Your remarks, Superintendent Ayers?
I mean, this is part of our normal process with our principals. They lead their buildings every single day. You know, it is about our student behaviors and making sure that, you know, that there are protocols in place. So, I mean, there's not an issue with our student code of conduct having that more available at all.
Okay, well, I you know, just to not give Porter any more lawsuit business and everything else, but what I wanted to say too, when we talk about suspension rates, we used to, and Joshua, you might be remembering this, we had the COP, we call it change of placement, now the change of environment, but we knew how many students were in that particular category. I think when we look at us as board members tracking and being familiar with disruption, that it's important that we are also knowing the change of environment quantifiably, and it would be also important to delineate, and Superintendent Ayers, we now have PBIS, Positive Behavior Incentive Supports, in every school, but what we used to have, and pardon me for saying used to, but we had this before COVID, Harris and Peters, and Shay, wherever you are, Ms. McCrae remembers, we had how the PBIS subtracted from the COP, which is now COE, change of environment, subtracted the amount of suspensions. And why is that important? It's important because the black and brown community feels, rightly so, that there's disproportionality of them getting suspended. So when we put the PBIS, I think it's very important for board members to see how effective that is in reducing. And I remember those columns were very revealing, and the change of placement went from so-and-so per week down to, it was 23, 24, it went down to 5 or 6. I remember that distinctly, and, because we started that big outlay in 2016. So what do you think, Joshua?
No, I don't disagree. Just at the first point, the Code of Conduct is actually published on our district website in English and Spanish. So you actually have the copies for download. I don't disagree. It would absolutely be helpful to have it on hand when schools and parents show up. And I would hope that that's also being involved. We can talk to the schools about adding that into their process. But it is available online. Getting it out to the communities even quicker, I don't disagree. We can find avenues to push it out more involved in that way. Regarding my work versus not what PBIS is not, absolutely. It does go hand in hand, and I believe other people are going to speak more on that. My numbers, we absolutely can we do have the data on the numbers of the student populations that we see in this process, and they are available to you. So yes. All of the
Right. I would like to see that data as an individual board member, and I won't speak for them, but I think it's important that they know that this huge district-wide outlay of PBIS is in fact helping or reducing the suspension rate. And if it's not, then, PBIS is not done in full fidelity in our schools. And that's the big secret right there. Right.
Absolutely. Oh, sorry.
No. So thank you, Ms. Gray. Thank you so much. And you've always advocated for PBIS. And so we have been working together, Ms. Burkett's team and my team, to ensure that we are not just focusing on administering discipline, which is what Josh's team assists with. We are actually trying to do more on the front end, right? What PBIS provides, what we can do when we have a strong Tier 1, where we have clear expectations, clear supports and incentives for kids. We are now working on that piece through Stacy Wren. We are now reinstating and doing more with PBIS. We've kind of not been as involved with that. My team hasn't been over the last few years, but we are now re-engaged and working collaboratively with Ms. Burkett's team, Josh in particular, to ensure that our schools, all schools, have a strong Tier 1 plan, and that is about being proactive. We have positions at some of our schools as well. Our climate and cultural resource teachers, which help support that, and they're at all of our high schools. We have some behavior resource teachers that are funded out of Title I that also assist with that. But the goal here is to do exactly as you indicated. If we get up front and ensure that kids understand the expectations, and we do some training of students, teaching them about appropriate responses to situations and in situations, we should see fewer of our kids ending up in Josh's, in his world. So we are working on that together.
No, absolutely, and I appreciate that. I think it's important that we have a lot of students in this district, and most of them are doing exactly what they're supposed to be doing. The Code of Conduct is written on some of the worst kind of scenarios and the worst incidents, and that's unfortunately where my office comes in. It's dealing with the worst, so it's trying to find avenues back. So when we look at where it all connects on the spectrum of discipline, it's a big, heavy lift, and that's why there are a lot of working parts. But the Code of Conduct is always based on some of the worst incidents we deal with.
Okay, well, the request still remains, the data of.
Oh, 100%, absolutely. The data is available, yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Member Gray. Member Washington?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So, Josh, a quick question for you. Can you tell us about the reduced rate or expulsions? Because I think people say, well, you're kicking them out of school. That's the term that they use. You're kicking them out of school. Can you explain that? Because we're not kicking kids out of school.
No, in fact, we don't have the word expulsion. None of these students have been expelled in any number of years that I've been here. It's not even on their record. What happens is sometimes an event happens, and even out of our control, the police are involved, and we have to separate where the student and the incident occurred, and we have to find other avenues. We do provide other locations for the students to gain educational services. So none of these students have been kicked out. We have not kicked. 0 students have been completely removed from our district in the last 4 years.
Good, great, because that's what I want people to understand. We don't kick them out of school. We have a change of environment to put them in a place where they can learn and be productive.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, board members. So any other questions, comments? Okay, so this goes right along. Oh, Member Rendon?
Thank you. I just want to make sure that we're clear on this. Our school code of conduct is on the website, but also in all of our first day packets, along with the individual school handbook, there is a link and been told for all students and families where that code of conduct is. Am I correct, Superintendent?
That is correct.
Okay, so we are educating our families on an annual basis, so we make sure that it's done. So, I mean, according to this policy, we're just making a reference to where that information would be in addition to what the policy is.
Correct.
Thank you.
And I would add in all of our when our schools open up, all of our principals, our assistant principals, we have orientations with all of our grade levels that kind of go over really, our procedures and what those expectations are. So I can assure you that it's happening at every one of our schools. I guarantee it. So this is just, as Josh mentioned, this is this particular item with 5610 is just really around changing some language. But to Ms. Gray's point around PBIS, my goal as superintendent always we will have a safe learning environment for all students all the time. So I want to make that clear. And on the other hand, there's also, the piece of we want to, as we look to move instructionally, we have to look at the loss of instructional time and reducing the loss of instructional time for all of our students. But doing that at the same time, having a safe and learning environment for all students.
Thank you. And that goes right along with the next one is 561001, which is the emergency removal of students. I think we just had a couple changes. Board members, did you have any questions or comments on that? 5610.
561001. It's just the.
It's just a striking
Yeah,
out.
there was an expectation that the board would convene every 3 days after an incident to deal with a student incident. But my office is in lieu of that, and it's 10 days, which also abides by with students with disabilities and making sure they get their due process as well.
Yes. Member Rendon?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a couple questions, and again, this is more of an explanation. I understand the language in it, but I'm going to go a little bit between the two because I think it's between 560101 and then 5601. Do we pass? What was the other one? 5610 and then 5601. Right? Oh, 5601. A little bit the same. So 56.01 under line 16, in an emergency removal exceeds one school day, then the due process hearing will be held and all reasonable attempts will be made to hold a hearing within 10 school days. So my question is, what happens if a student is suspended for 2 school days? Because it's more than one, do they come back to school, then hold a hearing? It's a little confusing in the language.
It is. This is, again, the worst case scenario if it's then going to a hearing. If a student is removed from a suspension, a standard suspension, then that doesn't go to a hearing and the student would come back to school. This is only in the elevated level that a student is being asked to be removed from school. So in a situation where a student is suspended for 1 day, yeah, they would come back to school. Yes, they would come back to school.
Okay. What if they want a hearing even over that suspension of a 2-day suspension?
So the discipline hearing is not a guilt or innocence. When we meet is when after a student has been worked through the school system, at the school level, and it's determined that the student was ineffectively, guilty for what they did. But what happens at these the earlier interventions, that would be with the region superintendent, with the principal of the school to be worked on with the family at that level and within that time frame.
Okay. And that leads me to my second question is, on line 30, if the superintendent or principal reinstates a student prior to the hearing for emergency removal, the teacher may request and or be given written reasons for the reinstatement. The teacher cannot refuse to reinstate the student. So kind of tell me how that would work if we are removing a student from an emergency situation where we've removed the student from that environment. Are we going to go against our student code of conduct on that process of when it happens, if a principal chooses to bring them back early? Or because don't we have those procedures of exactly certain offenses occur and we've got, when you're removed and know how I'm trying to get a picture of how that looks according to the policy.
No, it's fair. You have to work with it because Even if a referral, the school has 48 hours to process a referral. They have to gather information. So in that time, technically, the student is suspended anyway, but it doesn't fluidly transfer into, well, are these actual suspension days? Like while the school's gathering information on an event, it's best, for example, if a student made a threat, you have to go through a threat assessment procedures, make sure, get witness statements from all the other students, which could take, we try and wrap it up in 48 hours. But then does that include the suspension time, which it should, and then so that it all depends on where it falls in the investigation with the situation. So it's not fluid, and I appreciate that it's hard to.
Well, it's
Translate
hard
that.
from the policy, but what I do know is in the student code of conduct, it is very clear on that process, and it's very clear on the exceptions. So with that being said, I think in that statement right there, line 30 to 32, if we could make sure that there's either some reference to the student code of conduct or something, so that we give some clarity to the policy, knowing that I don't think I would change the policy, but I would make sure we give some reference to the procedure part of it, so that it makes a little bit more cognitive sense, because again, we clearly define in the student code of conduct the authority and who's got what and when, but in the policy, it just says it can, and that to me opens more questions and answers, but if they can refer back to a direct procedure, it may clarify it. Thank you.
Thank you. Member Gray?
Yeah, and there again, I mean, we're reconfirming the importance of going back to the student of conduct, which more than that, but I just wanted to, I felt like this was a misguided conversation when I asked about the posting of where the student conduct was. I was referring to line 15. A copy of this policy is to be posted in a central location in each school. So if we're going to be wordsmithing, that is a phrase, that's line 15 on the 5610. So while we're wordsmithing, if we are saying that in policy and yet there is not a copy of this policy in a central location, that is the crux of what my discussion was to the earlier point. I understand the first day of school. I taught many, many years. We get the code of conduct or whatever they call it, whatever flavor they call the handbook per year. I just said, if we're saying something in policy, then we got to do it in policy. That was my point, Member Endon. Now, when we have a question regarding the 30, 31, 32, where it has an opportunity to refer to the student code of conduct, I definitely I agree, because there again, you're recommunicating. The other point I wanted to say, and Joshua, I know you have a tremendous amount of workload on you, but we changed from 3 days, and this is on line 17, and I'm back on policy 5610.01, but we changed from 3 and we went to 10. I just was wondering what was the rationale.
Sure. One of the problems is that we want to align with the students with disabilities who have the right to 10 days before we have a manifestation, further behavior determination meeting for their disability, to make sure it actually, in fact, was a result of them or not of their disability. So that we try and keep all students on the same, to be equitable on the same path.
Okay, it's not because you're understaffed, it's because...
No, we're trying to abide by due process for both students with disabilities as well as your gen ed students.
Okay, all right, thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Member Gray. Member Washington?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Josh, a quick question here. And I know this is probably under the superintendent's responsibility. Do we still, like, when school open up, we have the joint principals meeting, a principals meeting. Do we have Josh and his team to come out sometime and just explain sometime to the principals certain procedures and so forth?
Sure. So we have principal meetings every month. We just had one yesterday. Josh, I'm not sure of your cadence on some of these meetings, but whenever Josh needs to get in front of principals make those requests through their council presidents. Okay. But that is an open line of communication, obviously, because I know they call him constantly, so there's that open line of communication. But absolutely, it's absolutely open for him to come to our principals meeting and speak in front of them.
Okay, because I'd like to make a suggestion, especially with new APs coming in. I think it's be so important to meet with the new APs because they're not familiar with the policies and procedures many times. One other question. We read about in the newspaper all the time about how many black kids are suspended from school and so forth. Is there any way we can get out some really good data so we can eliminate all of that? Because I think that's so important, because, you know, word of mouth is dangerous. But we got to have it some kind of way, Superintendent Aaron, so we can put this out so people can understand. Because they say, all these kids suspended. Yeah, we do have disrupted students. I mean, we do. But when they say all of these kids, but it could be one kid with 3 or 4 infractions a lot of times. And it may seem like it's 15 kids, but it could be one kid with maybe 8, 9 suspensions or so forth. So what you think, Josh?
Yes, sir. In fact, we're actually now with our teams having regular data meetings, and we're going to start pushing that out. We're meeting regularly. We've created a discipline report card for the schools,
Okay.
mostly focused on middle and high, where the bulk of where we're seeing a lot of the problems. But we are intervening with data, and we can do that with the board as well, and update you with the data as needed.
Good. I really would like that, because I get, you kind of get beat up a little bit on that bad publicity, and it's not necessarily true at all times. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. So I think I'm hearing that we really definitely want to see more of that data. And also, I think to see where the students go and when they come back. Like if they go to Tampa Epic North, how long they're there, when they come back, if they go to AMI Kids or whatever program they go to, what does that look like, and when they enter, just to see the success rate and what happens with them. I think we're looking at that probably by school, by district, looking at that, and just seeing, just how often students continue to repeat, the habitual students and what that looks like. Okay, thank you. Any questions? Okay,
Josh,
one
I
more.
would-
Member Rendon?
Oh, I'm sorry. Ms. Gray, in clarifying what you said regarding the posting of that, Superintendent, I mean, would you prefer that not to state that in that such a way in that
I was
policy?
just going to go there with that statement. So our student handbook in the past, now student code of conduct, we do not print that anymore. So there are no printed copies of that. So I think, Josh, I was going to get your opinion. So I think where it says a central location, central location, how's that defined? Right now it's on our website, on our webpage. So if we want to wordsmith this a little bit, because there is, right, Josh, there is no printed copy.
We're just sitting here agreeing, actually, suggesting it's.
Maybe we.
Yeah, so it may be present in our main offices, it may be in student affairs offices where folks can have access to it, but to consistently have it there and stating this as vaguely as it's stating can cause some confusion, right? So I think we can wordsmith this, Josh's team can wordsmith this so that it's better defined, yes. We'll do that.
So we're talking about policy 5610, the previous policy.
Correct.
Okay, so just make sure the record's clear. Yep.
Okay, board members. Okay, we'll go on to the next one, which is 5611, which is, well, there we go. Changing in wording from student handbook to student code of conduct. Okay,
11, right?
5611.
Again, that's the
changing that.
verbiage.
That's
Yeah, it's just verbiage.
Yeah, it's just, okay, so I don't think there should be any questions on that. Okay, moving along to 5630, which is corporal punishment and use of reasonable force and restraint.
So essentially, we want to remove the language that alludes to corporal punishment as an acceptable form of discipline in the district. Many districts have moved away from using it, and there's a lot of legalities that get involved with even if it were to be used. So just not having it in there will take away the idea that it could even be an option for schools. It's best to remove.
Okay, Member Gray?
Oops. Line 9, corporal punishment. The use of corporal punishment is prohibited. So I am thinking we should say by law, or if there's a statute or anything it's prohibited. So is that just being picky, or
Well,
it's open-ended?
It's still out there. Schools have options of using it.
Okay.
We thought it would be in our best interest to say, as a district, that is not our inclination to use.
Okay. All right. The next question I have is under reasonable force and restraint, line 27 and 28. here's, and I know that you're aware of this, but when we read this, within the scope of their employment, instructional staff as well as support staff may use and apply reasonable force and restraint to quell a disturbance threatening physical injury to others. We have teachers who do get in the middle of this. They're getting injured. And we have staff. And I'm not so sure, and this is probably a more complicated conversation, but I'm not so sure that I want our staff, we have Synergy, we have those, they can press the button there. I would rather us think of them not being in the middle of battles for many reasons, obvious. And we've seen it this year already. The kids, and they're fighting, and they're fighting hard, and the teachers are in the middle of it, and before you know it, they're injured. And staff, assistant principals. What do you say to that, Joshua? Any?
Well, we are responsible for the safety of our students. It is the responsibility of a school to try and make sure a student stays safe. It does say reasonable, anything reasonable. So if a teacher doesn't feel that they could reasonably get involved without it getting worse, there are other options. The strategics badges and contacting and yelling and adult supervision. But as a blanket statement, they are trained. Some teachers are trained how to do this, but if they feel that they can't reasonably get in there without maybe something happening, there are other avenues.
Well, and I mean, then you go to the next sentence. You say to obtain possession of weapons or other dangerous objects. So now you might have a gun. So what we're doing is we're putting, again, your staff and the teachers right in the middle of a possible shooting. And it's a dangerous, to me, and I would look forward to board members commenting on that, because most of you were teachers or have very familiar experiences with fighting and how it can lead to injury. We do have a device, Chief Newman's out there, but we have that to be pressed, and some of the teachers have those panic buttons behind the desk. I don't know. What do you?
We have school security officers, obviously, at every one of our campuses that would assist in any scope of any of the reasonable force and restraint. That's where our security officers there on site, or assistant principals. So I do think, if you look at some of the language that's within this policy, that could be something we could go back and make some revisions on. Josh, if you want.
One of the things I think it's important to see is this is also here to protect teachers. Yeah. So it isn't just like a weapon. Like if we're saying like a kid grabs something, we could say to the community that, hey, no, this teacher had to grab this. It was reasonable. Yeah. So it's also a level of protection as opposed to forcing them into a situation.
If I could speak to, I had a sidebar conversation with Dr. Patton before this meeting started about this particular section. And she has some concerns about what the term reasonable means. And so I think it's a broader conversation. Purposes of today, I think it's important that the board keep this policy moving to take out the corporal punishment, and then for the next policy round, maybe take a look at this paragraph. And again, Dr. Patton has already sort of raised some concerns about it. You've raised some concerns. So I think it's part of a broader conversation that we should bring back in the next policy cycle. I don't want this to get sidetracked, because I think it's important to remove this language. And it's a bigger conversation that needs a little more work, both for the issues that Dr. Patton raised and Ms. Gray raised in some of the discussion here. So I think if you keep this moving with the understanding that we'll come back in the next policy cycle with clarification and maybe some modifications to this paragraph based on the conversation today.
Thank you, Ms. Porty.
Thank you. Sure.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So 100% agree, because I look at this from 2 points of view. We've got some new laws that are made to protect teachers and allow them to intervene in all aspects of our security of our schools. But on the other hand, we also want to make sure that we are protecting where that is needed and what it's not. So that is a concern. So if we move forward with this and we remove that, are you looking to approve this as it stands?
It's up to the board. My recommendation would be approve the policy as it's written, taking out the corporal punishment, leave everything else the same, with the understanding that we'd come back in the next policy cycle and probably modify that provision. It's going to take some time to work through that, and I don't want to rush it, but I also think it's important from a liability standpoint that we remove any references to corporal punishment. So that's my recommendation. That's up to y'all how you want to do it. So,
I mean,
yeah.
I would agree on the removal of that. I caution us to make sure that because in the last 3 years, there's been multiple laws regarding hands-on students, regarding teachers having permission and the teacher's rights. So I really want to make sure we capture
Right.
all of it in this. I just don't want to move too fast that we leave something back. So as long as we
just so I'm
clarify
clear,
that.
I don't recommend removing the reasonable force and restraint. I don't recommend removing that. I recommend leaving that there, but removing everything. So everything in the red, I recommend removing. Everything else stays the same for now, with the understanding we'd come back and change. I don't want to take out that paragraph because I think that makes our district and teachers vulnerable.
Correct.
Without that.
Correct.
But yeah.
Okay, so then so the understanding, we're good. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Board Member Rendon. And we have Member Vaughn, who's online, who also wants to speak.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right. Well, I appreciate all the conversation around this. I know that we're having a lot of concerns with behaviors in our schools, and I know we want to make sure we're thoughtful to support both our employees and our students, and making sure that, we're keeping them in school, but we're also making sure that they're not disrupting other students. I know that Member Gray, I believe, had asked for a workshop on our student code of conduct and behaviors. So I do anticipate that as a board, we're going to have more conversation about this going forward. I agree with Jim for right now to move forward with the changes recommended and then come back and revisit this policy so that we can all have a more thoughtful, thorough discussion, maybe have some of the data that were requested right in front of us so we can have a conversation with the data in real time. So that's my thought process on this policy. Thank you.
Thank you, and I think we all concur with that. So we'll go ahead and we'll strike the corporal punishment out and then leave the reasonable force and restraint. And our next policy, we'll be looking at that, and we'll probably discuss it sooner than that at our workshop as well. Okay, moving on, we have two more. 8330, which is the student records.
Thank you. And Matt Romano will be coming up to help us with policy 8330.
Morning. So in this, really all we did in the parts that were amended where we defined what a parent is, and kind of going back from the last policy, the way it was defined, we talked about in local parentis, so we clarified that. And then we had a section, it was on the, what page? I guess it's 1, 2, 3. On the fourth page from lines 56 to 61. That's what I have. I don't know if you have the same line numbers. We removed the last part of it because it kind of was in conflict with FERPA. So when I worked with legal on this, we decided that we wanted to be more in alignment with FERPA than what they had here.
That's 65 to 69.
I have 56 to 61 on mine that they gave me.
The cross through mat is unless the eligible student is dependent.
No, this says whenever a student has attained 18 years of age.
Yeah, I see it, that's line 63.
Our lines are different. So yours is 50 through 54.
Board members, any comments or questions on that? Okay, Member Gray?
Thanks, Matt. I had a question and it was good that you clarified parents and you clarified, guardians and that, but why did we not clarify? And I'll look at, actually you can look on a few lines where, for example, 81, line 81, eligible student. Eligible students mentioned in 81, line 94, line 76. Should we, and I don't know if we're defining, does everyone know what an eligible student is? Because some of our students look like young adults. And so what do you think, Matt? Should we define?
I think what it's referring to is an eligible student is someone who is in the district.
Right. Oh, that's it? So we're all,
Because once you're out of the district, you don't qualify as a student anymore. So that's where some of this other language came in terms of who can request a record, once a student turns 18, because they're essentially an adult, and that's where FERPA.
Well, I'll let board members, question or not, but I just to be keeping things in a flow, when you stopped and paused and scratched your head, oh, maybe we should clarify parents. Maybe we should clarify guardians, which you did, but maybe we need to clarify eligible students. So that's all. And even if it's just as short and sweet, oh, it is?
Yeah, 55, yeah.
Highlighted, Ms. Gray, but if you look at starting on line 54, it does, I think it's an excellent point, and I think it needs to be there, but it's not highlighted, but it's already there. The
Yeah.
term eligible student refers to students who are 18 years of age or older, or who are enrolled in a post-secondary institution regardless of age. So I think that point's well taken, but I think it's that probably satisfies what your concern is, I think.
And Matt, forgive me, I didn't see that line.
It wasn't
And,
highlighted, so.
Makes
and
two of
that's-
us.
So that's been done. So cross out that whole conversation. Sorry, Madam Chair. Lynn needs to pay attention more.
And then our final policy is 8800, which is religious patriotic ceremonies and observations, and along with the per statute. Okay, and who will be? Okay.
Ms. Barano will take the last one.
Where?
Did you press that?
Good morning, board members, superintendent. In 2021, Florida Statute 100345 was amended to require school districts to offer at least a minute of a moment of silence in each class, not more than 2 minutes. And this revision reflects compliance with that statute.
Board members, any questions or comments on that? No. Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Brana.
Thank you, and thank you for all the individuals who participated today. Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Okay. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, board members, Superintendent Ayers, and Mr. Porter. This meeting is adjourned.
Good job.